car enthusiasts, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Now today the day has come that I have to service my 2002 Mercury Cougar with an oil change, and this is where my OBD2 scanner from Innova comes in handy. So the maintenance light here in the shape of a little wrench that has been permanent for some time now because the power buttons on this control unit do not work anymore, and this was actually the only way to reset that maintenance light. So my Innova scanner has this pretty cool feature that I'm able to reset the maintenance light without having to use these power buttons, which is pretty awesome. So my Cougar has a 2.5 liter V6 engine that takes 5.8 quarts of a 520 motor weight oil. I do have about 175,000 miles on the dash, which is relatively high miles, so I am going to be using a 520 full synthetic high mileage oil from Valvoline to conduct this oil change. So I'm going to get started on that oil change, and right after that process I am going to show you how I use my Innova scanner to remove that maintenance light. So let's get started. Things first, I loosen all of the lug nuts for the front passenger wheel because I will need to remove this wheel as it will give me more space to work with for this oil change. I started to jack up the Cougar. It's lifted about a foot off the ground and make sure it's evenly leveled all the way around. Now it's time to remove the front passenger wheel completely. I wanted to show you guys the stuff I will be using to conduct this oil change. I have an oil filter wrench, an oil filter, a few extensions, a breaker bar, a 1/2-inch ratchet, a torque wrench, a funnel, motor oil, some moly grease, a few sockets and conversion bits. The only thing that is left out of frame is a drain pan. In order to properly access the drain plug for my Cougar, I have to bring down a part of the exhaust. Now that the pipe is down, it's time to drain the oil. And as I'm letting it drain out completely, I started removing the oil filter. So now in this step, I have to prepare the new oil filter so that I can go ahead and install it to the bottom of the engine. We do have to apply a very small amount of grease. A lot of people tend to use old pre-existing oil or some of the brand new oil that you're going to put into the motor. But I do have some moly grease, and this is what I'm going to be using. Just a tad bit. That's enough. As long as it covers it all completely. The oil filter is now prepped, and it's time to install it back onto the engine. The oil has completely drained, and now it's time to plug the bolt back in. I made sure to wipe everything down so it's left nice and clean with no oil residue. Now I can properly torque the drain plug to 19 foot-pounds, and I know it's not necessary to torque down a spin-on filter, but why not? 10 foot-pounds it is. It's time to put the exhaust back in its place and torque those nuts to 46 foot-pounds. So I did mention earlier that this vehicle takes 5.8 quarts of oil. These engines burn oil pretty fast, so an extra 0.2 will not blow up my engine, so I went ahead and added all 6 quarts of oil. I twisted the cap back on, turned on the Cougar, checked if there was any leaks, then turned it off and went ahead to check the oil level. Alright guys, the oil change is complete, but it got a little late last night, so I wasn't able to finalize the last step, which is resetting the maintenance light using the Innova scanner. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started right now, and I can show you guys the step-by-step. Okay, so I have my OBD2 scanner here. I already hooked up the cable to the OBD2 port down here below my steering wheel, and now I'm going to finish hooking it up right here on top of the Innova scanner. Now in order for this to properly scan all of the codes in your vehicle and to go to menu settings, the vehicle does have to be on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Cougar, and Here it says auto link in progress, so it's just detecting all of the codes inside the computer software of the vehicle. And guys, I am going to have a few codes that pop up, but please ignore. I can't do anything about these codes regardless because I did remove the catalytic converter off this vehicle. So the O2 sensors, yes, it is definitely not going to read any of these sensors. But here we're going to go to menu. You're going to have all these different options that pop up: active test, function test, service reset, service checked, OBD mode test, hybrid EV battery test, battery alternator test. You have drive cycle procedures, DLC locator, vehicle information, firmware version, tool settings, and tool library for this unit. Okay, now, well, we need to do just a simple service reset. So I'm gonna go here, gonna click enter, and yes, the 2002 Mercury Cougar V6 2.5 liter vehicle is mine. Now for the oil reset, all we have to do is just hold this button for 3 seconds. It's gonna have that beeping noise. My light is completely finally gone. I thought I was never gonna see that light disappear ever. And there we have it, guys.